Welcome back to another episode of Two Nerds, One Game. Well, actually, this is the first episode, so congratulations us. And sorry if we sound dead inside. This is actually the 14th recording of this episode.
We've done this
so many times.
So
this is probably going to be the most rehearsed, most perfect episode that we'll ever do in our lives.
Hopefully. We're hoping for the best. Yeah. Okay, either way, since you're all here, we're going to be talking about violence and video games and how that's just bullshit, okay?
Yeah, we're just going to straight up as bullshit.
So the main topics we're going to be going over is media, how they portray video games and the violence in them. Proof about how that video games are actually good for your child. I wouldn't say better, but they
don't harm them.
Yeah, it's not. It's more positive than negative. But, yeah. But it's not like if your child doesn't play video games, you want to force them to play. You know, it's
if they don't want to play, it's their thing. But
yeah,
if they play, don't force them not to play. Well, you'll find out more later.
And yeah, how children can get addicted and violent. It's not impossible. It's just very unlikely. Unlike how the media portrays it. So
it's more about parenting than the actual video game.
So we're starting off how the media affects.
So the media, in my opinion, the media screws with parents' minds because the parents want to hear what they want to hear. They want to hear how they're this perfect entity, and video games are the reason that their child is corrupt, not their bad parenting. So what that means is that the parents just basically don't parent at all and then complain about how their child is messed up in the brain. So I think mostly to do with the fact that, I'm just repeating myself.
See, the thing is media just sees everything bad about video games and puts it under a giant magnifying glass.
They never say the positives. First
of
all, they
it's
never
honestly,
say the positives.
even if they did a giant magnifying glass and exaggerated everything, they'd have to exaggerate the positives. So in a way, it's more like a giant magnifying glass with like a blue light filter, except basically it only shows the bad stuff of video games.
Let's just say that.
For example, the one you're watching, maybe, right now, Call of Duty Warzone. It is a game where you shoot other people and get first place and you survive.
But if you don't point that out, all you see is beating the competition.
Yeah, in hindsight, it looks like, you're giving children guns and telling them to shoot their friends to win. Obviously, there's a way to see everything negative and positively, but this is how the media is portraying it. But how we, the gamers of the nation, how we see this game is we're trying to win. I mean, I haven't won in a while. I want to win because this game is fun. That's my thought process. It's not, I want to shower in my enemy's blood. It's really not that way. I assure you guys.
Yeah, but the media wants to portray it like that because parents don't want to hear, my child is violent because I don't take care of them and they just want attention. No, they want to hear, I'm a good parent, but this third party is screwing with my child.
Yeah, and there is a possibility for the third party video games to screw with your child, but that's still gonna be your fault because
you could just restrict.
Literally, too much of anything is bad. There's not any situation where too much of it is good. I mean, you can argue, but then again, you can argue the other side too. But whatever the case, video games, for example, if your kid is young and playing Fortnite 5 hours a day every day.
They should not be doing that.
No, that's going to result in them getting naturally aggressive because their mind is still developing. By the age of 6, it's extremely developing, actually. And so they're just sucking in what they see in the video games as part of their life. Once you're old enough, though, maybe 12, 13, 15, 18...
You realize that real life is not a video game.
It's you see the boundaries. But if you're playing video games and you're really young, especially for long amounts of time, it's built into your head. That's where you see all these crazy stories of kids who go crazy. Crazy, or like go on a mass murdering spree or some stuff. I don't know. Usually kids don't do that.
That's just a lack of parent interaction. If the parents just stepped in and said, no, you can't play this video game, or like if the parents saw that their kid was getting too violent and didn't allow them to play those video games, then it would have been okay, but the parents did nothing, and then they just blamed the video games.
And the thing is, right, even if it is violent and your kid is addicted to it, and you know it, whether they admit it or not, you can't just take it away from them, because they will find other outlets. For example, they will go to their friend's house and play video games. There's so many stuff they could do. But they could, for example, use GeForce Now, where you can stream video games off external servers, so you don't even need a good computer to do it. Lag is involved in that, though. But if you just let the kid play the game after they're done with all their chores and all their homework for a very specific amount of time, then they will be done. They will be happy with how much they got, as long as you strictly
as long as they
define.
feel like it's fair. If they feel it's fair, perfect.
Obviously, some kids, they just get out of control. Those kids, you have to say, okay, Timmy.
Enough is enough. You get no video games.
Yeah, okay, Timmy, you're done with your assignments, you're done with the chores, you can get 2 hours of game. Or maybe since it's every day, maybe if it's a young kid, probably 1 hour is more than enough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also it depends what type of game. Like, if it's like Minecraft, for example, 1 hour, in my opinion, is not totally enough. But at the same time, more than 1 hour is kind of a lot.
Yeah. So it's really however you pick it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and also there's lots of proof that video games aren't that bad for your kid. Obviously, if it's a very young kid, even though video games improve your like cognitive memory and then decision-making skills and all that stuff, spatial visualization, especially 3D games, they help spatial visualization. Even if they do all that, if your kid is very young, then the fact that you need to hunt to kill to be the first that's gonna stay in your kid's head, since that's now part of their brain as they're developing.
It just comes down to parents, first of all, seeing that video games aren't as violent as the media says, and second of all, explaining to their child that weapons are not toys, and that in real life, like, you can't just go up and rob somebody. That's just not okay.
Yeah, of course, games once in a while, they will be, for example, GTA, you're robbing so many banks, you don't get caught. Let's be honest, it's not realistic. In real life, you may rob one bank, even if you're a bank robber, you may have one successful bank robbery,
and then
by the second one you get caught, or even the first one, let's be honest, that's the highest probability. But if the kid comes up to you, or you see the kid, either way, you see the kid playing GTA, and you see them doing a bank robbery heist mission, you might as well step in for a second and be like, remember,
this
son,
is not
remember,
okay.
daughter, this is not how life works, and blah blah blah. You may sound cringy, but that's your parent, that's your job, your responsibility. There was actually a German study done by German scientists, 2013. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact date, like the information, the link, and all that. If I find it, I may put it in the description. It was a study where there's scientists who picked 3 groups of people. One group didn't
kids.
Well, they were kids. Well, by kids I mean they were like 16, 17.
Yeah, or
14.
something like that.
Yeah, around that age.
And they haven't played video games that much.
Yeah.
So like,
and they introduced one of the groups to GTA 5 for 6 months, right? Another group to Sims 3. And the last group, nothing. They didn't play anything. And by the end of the 6-month study, they found out that the gamers, the ones that played GTA 5, didn't get any more violent, didn't get any more angry, but instead their cognitive reasoning skills, their memory,
their
spatial visualization, maybe not for Sims, because it's not really a 3D game, but for games like Warzone, for example, where you're moving left and right, you can see switch of perspectives, it really would help, right? Especially if you want to be an animator. I mean, if you're an animator, playing games wouldn't actually be that bad at all, because you would learn so many how to do so many effects, and you could study it up front. I mean, that's what I do, and I kind of animate.
Well, yeah, kind of.
So, in conclusion, we don't want to drag this for too long, but in conclusion, the media
exaggerates video games and basically shows the negatives. And the best way to prove that video games aren't violent is to just convince people to play them for 15, 20 minutes, maybe an hour.
Yeah.
If they see that video games aren't like complete cancer, they'll understand that, oh, this is not that bad. Maybe I should let my child play a little bit more. Or, oh, I see why he might want to socialize on this website.
Yeah, and video games have given opportunities to so many kids who today's generation without them would be the loners. It's like it's given the nerds a way to socialize, and maybe not even nerds. Video games is the one thing that not only
brings
one class
people
of people
together.
Yeah, exactly.
People say, "What's your favorite video game?" And then you can tell a person's character, because you can be like, "Oh, they like The Sims," which means they like more peaceful, laid-back games, or they like Call of Duty, which means they like more fast-paced action stuff. So you can learn a lot about a person just from a video game, and I think that people just see it as face value. And
yeah, and also so we're gonna quickly wrap this up. In summary, the media takes only the bad points. Video games will actually improve your child's cognitive reasoning and all that stuff, as long as they don't abuse the video games or you don't let them play too much, because it's really up to you when they're a young age. And also, the parents are really responsible for their child's behavior. And if you let your kid play 6 hours a day,
that's not good.
Yeah, it's if they end up, you can technically blame video games, but it's like blaming a kid for shooting someone by accident if you put a gun right next to them and then don't tell them anything about gun laws or gun safety.
Yeah. Like, for example, people are like, people take this one very tragic story that this one kid accidentally shot his best friend in the face, or his brother, I don't actually remember. And it was not because he saw video games. Well, it was partly because he saw video games and said, "Oh, look, a gun, I'm so cool, haha." It was mostly because he didn't know how to properly operate a firearm, and he didn't know how to check that it was unloaded. So he was playing around, and he accidentally shot his friend in the face.
Yeah, one important thing, parents, if you have guns next to your children,
hide them.
First of all, put them away. But second of all, let's say you're a police officer, and you come home, once in a while, you may end up leaving the gun on the dining table, and there's kids around, at least inform them of gun safety. Yeah. And I know what you're thinking, right? Why would I teach my son gun safety? He's never gonna do it. It's like
just safety. It's like insurance. Teach them once, and they'll never forget.
Yeah, and especially if you teach them with a strict tone, it's going to stay in their head. Especially if you're a relatively cool parent and you stay strict for one of them, they'll be like, "Oh, why was he so strict for this?" Or "Why was she so strict?" It'll stay in them. So that's really it.
Just teach your kids. Don't blame video games for all your problems, and make sure you actually try something before saying it's bad.
Yeah. So that's
I guess that's the moral of the story. Thank you for watching this episode of Two Nerds One Game. My analytics show that 0% of you are actually subscribed. So if you're part of the 100% that's not subscribed, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. It's free, and you can unsub anytime we do a fuck up. So yeah, see you guys in the next episode. This was episode 1 of Two Nerds One Game, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.
Later, nerds.